Okay, quick post-fight thoughts to Naoya Inoue versus Jaeyoung Kim. Now, this was meant to be Sam Goodman. It was meant to be a mandatory defense for Naoya Inoue. It was actually meant to happen this fight on Christmas Eve, and Sam Goodman sustained a cut in sparring. It looked particularly bad, and when you hear a fighter sustaining cuts, like Tyson Fury when he had the cut in the run-up to the first Usyk fight, they normally don't push the fight back a month, which is how long they pushed this one back. That was meant to be in February. They pushed it back to May. Normally, as I said, with a cut, you need to give it, ample time to heal. It's not straightforward as, always got a cut, just move in a month, keep the can down the road. It's normally a lot longer than that. So they rescheduled it for a month later, and it was apparent Goodman it wasn't going to heal. You couldn't fight, certainly, someone the caliber of Inoue with a cut like that, especially if it wasn't going to heal, because Inoue, a couple of jabs from him, boom, it's open, you're done. It's over. So they brought in this guy, Jaeyoung Kim, who's a Korean, and again, that part of the world, the Far East, Japan, Korea, places like that, I know a couple of fighters, Nakatani, Kenshiro, Naoya Inoue and stuff like that. It wouldn't be a place that I would religiously follow. You look to Jamie or someone like that who would know a lot more about Japanese boxing. So I said, okay, let's see how this fight goes. I don't envy him taking a fight against Naoya Inoue. I'm sure he was well paid, but on a couple of weeks' notice, it's going to be a tough ask. Now, normally fights in Japan, they tend to start around midday, so I was a little bit late getting to this fight, so I only caught the last 2 rounds. What I will say, right, although Inoue looked in control, he looked like he figured out the movements of Jaeyoung Kim in there. Jaeyoung Kim looks tricky. He looks tricky. Didn't appear to have a crazy amount of punching power, but while he was in there was a lot of things to look at that you quite like. I like the fact that he was constantly trying to time Inoue. Inoue was doing what he always does, switching up well to head and body. And I think the problem with a lot of fighters who fight Inoue, one, he brings your punch output down. He's always dictating the pace. But when you think you're out of range, or when you think you're in a position where he can't hit you, he's just got a way of just landing shots that you just think, how did he land that? Because there was a few times in this fight where Jaeyoung Kim, he would maybe maneuver, and I knew it almost looked like his head was down, like he wasn't looking forward, and all of a sudden just the shots landed, like a big stiff jab or something like that. It's really crazy, the footwork that Inoue has. A lot of people don't talk about it. His footwork is so good. He's always on balance, it seems. He always just seems to have his feet just planted on balance, ready to throw a hard shot, but he's able to move very well along with that. In terms of some of the stuff, as I said, Kim did well. He was landing shots to Inoue's body. He was something we hardly ever see. He was actually punching with Naoya Inoue. There was a combination Inoue opened up on, and he was able to land, I think it was a left hook, it just landed right in the top of Inoue's head. It didn't seem to really have a great deal of power behind it, but nevertheless, I mean, you're not used to seeing Naoya Inoue be hit that much. There was also some combinations that he was able to land on Naoya Inoue in there. So he gave a good account of himself, and although Inoue has always looked devastating, at 122 pounds, at 122, we've seen a lot of good knockouts and a lot of devastating performances. But over the last couple of fights, we've seen him, I don't want to say not look impressive, no. Maybe the word look more human, all right? Because if you look at him at Superfly, especially 118 pound, he looked devastating. Apart from the first in air fight, we saw what happened in the rematch, he always looked so devastating. At this weight, against Stephen Fulton, looked devastating. Against Marlon Tapas, looked devastating. Then he fights Lewis Neary, and although he looks devastating in it, he's dropped in the first round, recovers extremely well. Like, the recovery powers of Inoue are very good, and his calmness in there. Then he fights TJ Dehenny, who is a naturally bigger guy than Naoya Inoue, but he'd seen better days. And although Inoue won, really got to TJ Dehenny by round 7, you could see Inoue was thinking a lot. He was getting hit a lot, and he was getting hit in here as well. But ultimately, Inoue has the power. I mean, it's dead quiet in those Japanese arenas until something happens. So you're able to hear the thud of Inoue's shots, and he landed some stiff, hard body shots on Jaeyoung Kim. And ultimately, it culminated in him hurting him midway through the 4th round. Jaeyoung Kim kind of goaded Inoue on and said, come on, you haven't hurt me, keep coming. And it's like, don't do that against Naoya Inoue. He proceeded to land a big right hand, I should say, and it took him out. He was never going to beat the count, and Naoya Inoue moves on. The question now is what does happen. He's still undisputed at 122. Sam Goodman, the mandatory, we don't know what's going on there. I don't know. I'd quite like to see him go to 126 pounds. I think a fight with him and Nick. He has signed for Riyadh season, I will point out as well. So he had Riyadh season on his shorts, Naoya Inoue. So he is now fighting on behalf of Riyadh season as well. So expect to see him in Saudi Arabia at some point in the next 12 months. Personally, if it's to stay at 122, Nakatani is a fight I desperately want to see because I think it will be epic. Desperately want to see that fight. If he's going to go to 126 and he's going to be a part of Riyadh season, we may as well just, like, Nick Ball is an option, definitely. There's guys there, you know, Angelo Lopez, or is it Angelo Lopez or Leo? Angelo Leo, I should say. He fought Finito Lopez. He's an option because he's turned out to be a bit of a dark horse. So there's options there at 126, definitely. I know a lot of people in America, they keep, oh, well, he needs to fight Tank Davis. So a super bantamweight needs to fight a lightweight. Please explain. Please explain that. I mean, I've even seen people say, right, that Naoya Inoue, when he rehydrates the next day, he's in the kind of high 130s, like say 135, 136. Well, Tank Davis 2 weeks before a fight is weighing like 140 something. So, you know, it's even Stevens. How is that? Honestly, why? There's no need for that fight. It's unnecessary. A super bantamweight going up to lightweight to fight Tank Davis. Or what, you claim that that's a brilliant win, in spite of the fact that, and God only knows what Tank will have in the contract as well. So yeah, I'd like to see him, if he's not fighting Nakatani, 126, make a run there. And I think that's it. I think that will be the limit because, as I said, Inoue at 122, he's looked good, but he's looking more human. They're even bigger at 126, even though it's only 4 pounds. It's only 4 pounds from 118 to 122, and you see him look a bit more human as he goes through the weights. That's why we have weight divisions. So let me know your thoughts. Big knockout. What are your thoughts? Leave it in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe as always if you haven't already. And until next time, peace.